Well, I think that it's very important that we take some decisive actions regarding this issue of net neutrality. I think that net neutrality is a term that means different things to different people. And it's one of the terms that gets bounced around here in the Congress quite frequently. And I'm somewhat suspicious of this whole drive toward net neutrality. Because in my estimation, net neutrality is a solution that's seeking a problem. And I think that it doesn't bode well for people, for the African American community, to just all of a sudden line up and be on fire for those who are advocating something called net neutrality. So I think that any telecommunications initiatives, any decisive steps that the Congress is going to make legislatively, and that we've got to be very mindful that we don't want to get trapped out on a limb all by ourselves as it relates to net neutrality, and make sure that net neutrality doesn't harm us rather than help us. So I'm real cautious about that. I would suggest that any telecommunications approach, and not only what I suggested, this is why I stand on this, that if at its core, it should try to help remedy, to me, what is the most serious problem that exists in the telecommunications industry, and that is the lack of black media ownership. I think that is the most paramount issue that we have. Why have minorities been denied, shut out, redlined out, greenlined out, forced out of the whole telecommunications endeavor industry, particularly in this day and age? We don't have access to capital because we don't have any provisions by where minorities can be encouraged and capitalized to own media entities. We used to have what they call the tax certificate program, whereby there were tax certificates that would be exchanged for, that could be utilized as leverage for capital, so that you can be positioned to purchase some of these media, as these conglomerates was breaking up, some of these pieces can be purchased by minorities, but tax certificates don't exist. And right now we have nothing that helps promote those, to promote the financial structure that will help solidify and help promote media ownership by minorities, particularly African Americans. So, and then you have a further concentration of media into a smaller group of people, smaller circle of corporations that own more and more media. So our voice as African American, as minorities, our voice is not being heard, you know. So to me, the number one issue, I mean, I've been on the telecommunications for something like 16, 17 years now. And the number one issue for me was and still is the lack of access to capital, the lack of media ownership by minorities, especially blacks. So that, to me, any telecommunications act, any kind of initiative will have to address those concerns. Media ownership, by minorities and particularly black Americans. That's the number one issue in telecommunication, as far as I'm concerned.